Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Garage Studio Maulers. I'm Dave Forrest and I'm here again with my good friend and special guest, Dave Browne. And Dave's going to continue working on weathering the Sherman.
Yeah, it's we're on to step 2 now. Our asphalt has dried, our bog, mud. So I'm just going to start using the oil paints. I just brought a piece of the hemp with me that always goes a long way. Now, the hemp is just like I say, it's just for wrapping bags and stuff.
Oh yeah, but you have the fine fibers.
It's great.
Yeah.
But it's great stuff. So this will be all the bog grass and the the stuff that the bogies and the tracks will. So maybe if we do a final episode, this is sort of number 2 or number 3. We'll start adding this to the
and work that in
our collection.
The simulate that
things.
grass and
and then finalize the
the
dirty part and the mucky part of the Sherman.
Nice.
So
yeah. And it's amazing. I was looking at this off camera, and it's amazing how with just the addition of the mud and like letting it dry and spraying the buff as kind of like a first layer, how much that's changed in just in a short period of time. That's amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, and it just gives it that nice variation. Like some of the models that you see out at the different contests, and it's just the guys, their level of modeling. But one of the things they should recognize is that the weathering on the bottom of these wheels shouldn't match the weathering at the top of the turret.
Yeah.
They have to have that variation. It just adds so much more to the vehicle.
Yeah.
And it takes zero effort. All you have to do is just look through your books and you can see it.
See the
plain
pictures.
and simple.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be thicker at the bottom because gravity works in that. I mean, in that regard,
it's just it's just the way dirt is no different than your automobile out in your driveway.
Yeah.
If you really fine tune looking at it,
your wheel wells are going to be a lot dirtier than the top of your roof, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Exactly what Dave just said. Your wheel wells and your tires and your all that way more dirtier than the roof of your car. So that's basically what I'm applying to my tank. So like I say, some of the models that I've seen recently at contests or whatever, and it's just a stepping stone. It's just watching the videos, watching your reference, looking at your books, and those guys who are doing that, maybe next time are starting to do this. So that's what you and I are hoping for.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So I'm gonna get down to putting oil, and I use the oil paints, which I think we've all started using, for the last 10 years, I guess. The 502. It's just great. They dry.
Oh, they're great. The pigmentation's fine, right? The great color range, easy to use.
Yep, dry quick. Yeah, when I say quick, 24 hours quick.
Yeah.
Versus Windsor Newton, which was 3 or 4 days.
Exactly.
In the olden days. So I'm just gonna get to it. I just use enamel thinner, and here's another neat little thing that I use is this MIG. Fresh engine oil. This is this really looks great.
Yeah, it's very glossy. Yeah.
Yep, it looks great for mud. So, or it helps mud. It's not. I don't use it for anything in regards to engines, even though it says fresh engine oil. I always use it as a mud additive.
Perfect. Oh, it's got some of the paint there.
Shit.
That's okay. No problem.
We'll wipe it off here.
We're good.
So, anyway,
duty.
So I'll start doing that, and
we'll let you get to it.
We'll bring this tank to the Battle of the Bulge.
Fantastic.
All right.
Fantastic. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, we'll get right to it.
Okay, so we've let it dry thoroughly. I call it asphalt. Obviously, it's our bog mud. And so now what I'm going to do, the first application is to use this fresh engine oil, and it's brought out by MIG. Unfortunately, I've lost the product number. Maybe it's on the cap. There we go. The cap number is 1408 for those looking for that product on your local hobby shop. And it's just a nice color. It's shiny, dirty brown. And I'm just going to give the front end of the tank a wash with that.
Now, why use that as opposed to just a wash?
I think it's a little transparent.
Mm.
You know, it's if I use the oils themselves, it's fine, except I just have to use a lot more thinner with the oils.
Right.
Whereas this probably is already thinned down and a little more transparent. You can see just by dropping it on there.
Yeah.
It's already, you know, taking that sort of moist flow of water, and like that's just a typical stain that would come as this tank is plowing through, you know, say a stream, or like we keep using the word bog, you know, a freshly turned farmer's field. It already is working.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna move it around a little bit, and it just carries a great color too. I don't know if anybody uses it for oil stains, like the jar says.
Well, I think some people do. But it just goes to show you, right? Just because something is labeled for a particular application, just like the asphalt,
Right.
It's you can use it however you see it, right? And adjust it, mix it with other products.
Yeah, exactly. Now here's, once again, back to reference. I'm not going to suggest that people start moving in on construction sites with a camera. You're just going to look like a fool. But if you see a bulldozer parked freshly, you know, say after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, after the crew's gone home, just pull out your camera and take some pictures. You know, use your own reference to. And I don't want to use strokes here. I just want to.
Just want to drop it in place and
let
the
it
capillary action or whatever kind of run its course.
Yeah, let gravity sort of take it down the road. And another neat thing is, you know, the flicking effect that, I don't know who perfected that in the beginning. It's probably been around a long time, but to flick the oil onto the tank too. Because we don't know where the splashes come from. A tracked vehicle of any nature just throws up water, throws up a mess. It all depends on the depth of the puddles, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, there's our first coat of oil paints, and again, it's just one more texture, one more layer of neat weathering.
Yeah.
And I know that you're working on a Stug, Dave, and it might be more into the December, January type of weathering, and so you're gonna not do it exactly the way I've done it, but it's neat to combine the two. You know, a little bit of DNA from all these different modelers, Rinaldi and Dave Forrest and myself, and a few of the others. Your model's gonna look terrific in the end, you know, and it's gonna be your own. It's I don't want anyone to sort of think that it's my way or no way. It's a combination of, you know, 10 modelers, and, you know, bingo.
Yeah.
You know, you've got something you really like.
Take what you like and what you feel comfortable with, and incorporate it, right?
Just gonna do a little bit of splashing along the bottom here.
Nice.
And it's going to be hard to see from distance, and that's actually good, because what you really want to do is splashes on your car or a piece of construction vehicle. You can't see the little splashes until you're up close, until you're 5 feet away. So in 35th scale, that's going to be very close. So anyway, that's our start. Now, a lot of the time I don't put the splashes on actually with an oil paint, because now I'm gonna probably lose a lot of those, because I'm gonna switch now to the regular 502s, and the brush strokes will
Might-
wash some of them away. So I quite often use Tamiya. Even olive drab number 62 is a great splash color.
Okay, interesting. But you can always go back after the fact.
Yeah,
right?
I can continue to put splashes on this for
And it
2
goes back
weeks.
to your earlier comment about layering, right?
Yeah. So let's look at our original and see if we're close. Yeah, it's starting to get very close. What I need, Dave, is a pair of scissors. Do you have any way of
Yeah, there was some scissors around.
cut some of my hemp off here? But anyway, I'll start putting on the oils. And I love the famous color that they have done. It's one of the first colors I ever bought, actually, is Industrial Earth. What's the number? 92, I think. 90. Industrial Earth from 502 is product number 90. And once again, I'm just going to give the front of this tank a little wash. And our little running board here that we put, you know, our little fence post, in real life that's going to change how the splashes happen. So the decal is really worn on the bottom of it, but above you can still see hints of the American star. Now, this hemp, here's a trick to, you may think I'm crazy, but
Dave, you crazy.
what I did a year ago, maybe just before the winter, maybe in September, October, is I took a length of hemp, just tied it to my fence post out in the back of my yard there, and just let Mother Nature soften it and let it just decay a little bit. And what that does is it just falls apart and it's just from being outside in the winter, and it just is perfect for making weird shaped grass. And the way grass, if you use brand new hemp, it works fine, but I like to leave mine out, just let Mother Nature. So I mix the hemp right up with the oil paints.
Okay.
And they take on being tied to my fence for 6 months, and I just wrap around a foot and a half.
They come pre-weathered.
They come pre-weathered, so they're all sort of gray and decaying, and you know. So I just cut it off different lengths: 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/16 of an inch.
Brilliant.
And just mix it right in with my oil paints.
So at this point, you're just putting oil paint in areas, and then you're going to work on blending it, yeah?
Yes. Sort of like that dot. You know how the guys use that dot sort of. So there's a little bit of my hemp. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but I just sort of drop it on there. And you're going to lose it. You're going to lose some of it as you stroke, because the downstrokes of your paintbrush, it's going to fall off as well. So it may look like I'm putting all kinds of it on there, but in the end there's going to be very little sitting here. But I just mix it up with my oils. And the higher up the vehicle I go, the lighter the color is going to get. And it's just back to what we talked about earlier about your automobile. There's just less and less as you move up the vehicle, and lighter in color. And that's only because it's dried. You know, you're not going to have that dark sort of color. Now, let me just jam some hemp in the corner here.
And I guess when it all dries, the oil paint will kind of fix the hemp in place, right, Davey?
Yes. It'll act like a cement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it requires no glue. It'll just... And who knows what, this particular Sherman ran into. He went from his little cornfield into a, dried cornfield, late fall type of harvested field, where there's going to be remains of wheat and that sort of thing. Remember that it's 1945, and there's a combat zone. So the guy doing the harvesting in France or Germany or Belgium, he's just getting some vegetables up. So in his farmer's field, there's going to be remains. And that's what I'm sort of picking off here is the poor farmer's remains in his farmer's field are wheat and grass and, things to feed his cows maybe. So that's all I'm just adding here.
Again, it comes back to having that, almost that contextual awareness of, the time of year, where the vehicle is.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
In terms of, the types of environments it would have been in.
And it's mainly because I do a lot of groundwork. Every vehicle that I make always has a little groundwork to go with it. It's just the way that I like to display my models for my showcase. We're all individuals here, so some guys just put their models out in lines, with no groundwork, no anything. They just sit on their tracks at home, and that's great too. But you can do whatever you wish, and because this will be in a setting, of that nature, of a farmer's field or something in February 45, this just reinforces that sort of setting.
And all you're doing at this point is you're just working with the oil. You're just kind of blending them in, getting color where you want it, taking it away.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sort of pushing it around, and mapping.
Yeah.
Rinaldi likes to use that word, and he'll use it in different applications for his stuff. And I think this is sort of that. And if your hemp starts to look weird and not like grass, just nip it off. Like once your model dries, if your hemp strings are don't appear to be
a little bit longer
wheat
than you might
or longer than, just take your scissors and everything, and just nip it back off again. All right. And then what's neat is, because the things that they take on and off of the vehicle, such as a piece of extra track or an extra tire, those things go on and off the vehicle maybe once a week, maybe every third day. So weather your whole front end as if they were never there, and then just drop them on. And in our next episode, I'll get into the stowage that might be on the front of the tank and weather those and show how, like I say, they take them on and off. If your tank needs a bogey, it needs a bogey. You take the, or a piece of track. So I weather the whole thing without that stuff on. And then slowly add it. I'll have maybe 2 spare wheels sitting on the front, one extremely weathered, one brand new.
Yeah, that tells a story too, right?
Yeah. It just adds a little bit of different texture to it.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So, now Dave, you're working on a winter stug, are you not?
Yes.
And I'm sure that your tricks for weathering the mud and everything are fortunately different than mine slightly, and maybe if you want to talk about those.
Yeah, maybe I'll bring the stug out and we can do a quick comparison.
Yeah.
And we can chat about kind of contrasting, and I think it's largely the same, but there are some little bit differences. But
yeah,
I think watching the last couple of episodes here, Davey, you've certainly given me something to think about, right? Another option.
Yeah, and One of the nice things is when you're applying mud to your vehicles, you have an American Star or German Cross or what have you. Make sure that you don't hide those completely. Don't wash those right out.
Yeah.
You know, you need some identification and some color on your wall.
And they would have cleaned those out because that's
that's very important for aircraft
friend or foe,
identifying.
Yeah.
So you'll see that I'm always reflecting back on my little star here, just because it's just a flash of color that you're gonna need. Just looks better.
Mm.
So even though I have a lot of mud on either side, and like you said, the Americans, Germans, they're gonna clean those off because they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You mind being shot at a little bit more if it's from your own side.
Yeah. Poor Stonewall Jackson. Friendly fire. One of the greatest American generals ever. Goes up in smoke with friendly fire. But anyway, so there's a very simple, just an addition, another bit of layering. The other thing, and I don't have any dark pigments here, but it's not important. Mud isn't granular, so. But the other thing you can do is, as you move up the vehicle, you can add pigments too, and maybe in our next episode, we'll add just a touch of pigments.
Fantastic. What are the next steps, or what do we have to look forward to in future episodes, Dave?
I think that I'll move shift a little bit to the bogies, but when I do the bogies, they'll be individual. They won't be glued to the tank. In this case, yes, because it's a shelf queen.
Right.
They are, but I will possibly do some bogies too.
Okay.
And Sherman bogies are, once again, like a car. You know, they're going to be dirtier than the top of the turret, and we're going to sort of carry all these colors along the side of the tank.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I hope to see you guys soon. And this has been a real pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, it was great. It was great doing this again, David. Brought back a lot of great memories.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Alrighty.